Hey everyone, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. In the part 1 of this video, we saw the machine learning model we'll be deploying. And in this part 2, we'll be looking at the deployment process in detail. Now, there are different deployment processes we'll be looking at, but the first we'll be looking at is using the Termux environment, that is a Linux environment, Termux app, which is a Linux environment. Now, this is the easiest way to deploy a machine learning model using the Termux app or the Linux environment. It's very easy. You don't need to start creating a web page to impute your features to predict your values. No. With that environment, you just need to just put in your features and you just get your prediction. So it's very straightforward and easy. Then in the next part of this video, we'll now be looking in detail how to deploy it, creating a web page where you can put in your features and you will see your results. And we're also using a database for this deployment. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the teaching.
So before we deploy the model, the information for that X text role, that is, if we had printed the information for this line of code, this is it here. That is from here to here, the highlighted information. So we have how many features now? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now let's go to our data set to see whether our X is 13. Take note, we have 2 extra columns we created. So take note, date column is not part of our X. So let's count the others. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That is 11. Plus the 2 new columns that was created. The 2 new columns, which are the 7-day moving average and previous visit, that makes it 13. So this is the information we'll be using to deploy our model. And for this information of X, from our data set, this is the result we are supposed to get for our Y. That is, if we predict the number of visitors with this information of X, we're supposed to get around 1,629 visitors as our result. So before we go to the deployment, our previous video, I showed us how to install Termux. Termux is a Linux environment for your Android phone. So you have to watch that video for you to be able to deploy a machine learning model. I'll drop the link in the description. Okay, so before you deploy a machine learning model, you have to have an API. So we need an API, which is an application interface where we can communicate with our model. And the API we'll be using is Flask. And this Flask API we are using is connected to a database, SQLite 3 database. So this is the Flask, and this is the SQLite 3 database import command. So what is going to happen is that once we finish deploying our model, we can see our results in our database. I have previous video on SQLite database, how to manipulate SQLite database on your Android phone using your Python environment. So I'll also drop the link in the description. So we load our data set, that is, we train the model, which we have already done, and we saved it in a file named random forest regression model.pkl. Now this file is already saved in the same folder where your model code, where this RF code is, this code that I used to train the model, is saved in my file, in my folder. That same folder is where the pickle is saved. Take note, look at it here. This is the pickle aspect. They say save model. You can see it here, and you're saving model with this name. So it's saved in that same file. So from that same file, we locate it, we open it. We open the file and we load the model. so we can work with it. So these are our Flask initialized here. Then we initialize our SQLite database. So this is the function that we're using to initialize it. I have my previous video on how to create an SQLite database and initialize it and work with it. So here we have our database, which we named prediction.db. So if it has not been created, it will be recreated. And if it has already been created, it will not be recreated again. So these are the information. So we create a table in it, which we name predictions, and we give the following columns in it. So that is just it. Then as usual, you commit your information and you close your SQLite connection. So here we call the function, this function here, so that you can initialize our database. Then this is the prediction endpoint. So we post our information and we retrieve the information and we predict the information. So I will pass in the information, this information, and it will be taken in and prediction will be made. This line of code is what does the prediction. Model does predict. So when it does the prediction, it stores the information in the database into the table that we created. So that is what this does, and it commits it and closes the connection. So that is what happens here. Then here you can fetch, it fetches the information. That is, once prediction is made, it shows you the result of the prediction. You will also see the result displayed on that Tamox app. So that is what happens in this whole Flask code. So let's look at how to deploy it using our Tamox, that is our Linux environment on Android. So to effect this on the Tamox, that is the Linux environment, first and foremost, let's run our Flask, that is our API. You have to run this code and keep this code running. That is the only way you can deploy it. So I run this code. So it will display some information here. So we will test to know if this our Flask API is working very well. And if it is working, you should be able to access it through your web browser, your active web browser on your phone. So look at the HTTP here, 127. Now I clicked on it, look at it. It's saying Pack Visit Prediction API is running. So it opened directly on my Google Chrome, which is my default browser on this phone. So for you to see this, it means your API is running very well. So now with this already happening, we open our Tamox. Don't forget our Tamox. This is the Tamox here. So it's opened. Okay. So since our Tamox is opened, we have to copy the X information that we want to predict on. So the line of code that I will be posting into the Linux environment, I've already copied into my notebook. So this is how you put it: curl-x post the HTTP connection predict on this information. So I'm going to be copying this and posting in my Linux environment. Take note, our API is still running. So these are Tamox, that is Linux environment. So I'll be posting it here. So I press enter. Look at our prediction. Our prediction is 1403. So with this information, with this weather information and so on, our prediction is 1403 number of visitors. So let's see what we have here. The original information is 1629. The 1403 prediction is not that bad, but it could be better. So we need to train a better model so that we can get more accurate results, and that's why we'll be using the LSTM, long short-term memory, which is a deep learning model to train this data set. So now we are in our SQLite database where our predictions are being saved. You can see predictions.db. So let's check. This is the predictions table. So we have previous predictions which I've made on the data set. So here is the one we did now. You can see our result 1403. So that is how we use our database with our Flask API to deploy our model. So in real life situation like this, you have a database, you have what you want to predict on, you already deployed your model, so you have new information. You have the weather condition, maybe proposed weather condition for the next month. Then you, like now we are in April, so you are able to get the weather forecast for May, and you have this information. Now you also know whether you're going to do adverts or not. You already know whether there's holidays. So with this whole information, all you just need to do is to pass it into your model, your trained model, through the API, that is the Linux environment. You pass it through there and it predicts the number of visitors you should expect in May. So that is how this works. Follow me on my YouTube channel, subscribe, as you will have more informative videos. Thank you.